Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Board of Education for Caldwell-West Caldwell public conference meeting, beginning here on September 13th, 2021 at approximately 5:02 in the Harrison Conference Room here on Gray Street. The Board of Education meeting will be streaming live. All community questions and comments will be welcomed in person here in the conference room. To view this meeting, we will be live streaming on YouTube. The Caldwell-West Caldwell Board of Education public conference meeting is compliant with the Open Public Meeting Act and NJSA 10:4-6, also known as Sunshine Law. Notices have been sent to the Progress of Caldwell, New Jersey, the Star Ledger of North New Jersey, and Tap Info of West Essex. Notices have also been posted at the Board of Education Business Office here at the Harrison School Building on Gray Street, West Caldwell, and have been delivered to the Clerk of Border of Caldwell and to the Clerk Township of West Caldwell for posting. Brian, could I please ask you to take the roll?
Yes. Mr. Diambola.
Here.
Mr. Elko. Ms. Grasso.
Here.
Mr. Lanfranc. Mr. Cipoletti.
Here.
So 3 present, 2 absent. We have a quorum.
Great. Can I ask everybody to stand for pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will now be moving into executive session in the superintendent's office here on Gray Street. The purpose of this meeting is to discuss personnel negotiations, litigation, miscellaneous, and old business matters. This meeting has been advertised and is compliant with the Open Public Meeting Act and NJSA 10:4-6, which is also known as the Sunshine Law. The matters discussed will be made public and confidentiality is no longer required, and formal action pursuant to said discussions shall take place only at a meeting to which the public has been invited. Our public meeting will resume at 7 p.m. I have a motion to enter executive session.
I'll make the motion.
You have a second?
I'll second.
The motion was made by Ms. Grosso and seconded by Mr. Gambola. Upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Caldwell-West Caldwell Board of Education is going to enter executive session at approximately 5:05 p.m. Any take a vote, Brian?
Yes.
Yes.
3,
Aye.
okay, 3 out. Okay, executive session. Nays, abstentions.
May I have a motion to enter public session?
I'll make the motion.
For a second. Second. Motion made by Ms. Grosso and seconded by Mr. Elko on the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Caldwell-West Caldwell Board of Education shall return to open public session at approximately 7:02 p.m. Frank, we have a vote?
What's your ayes?
Aye.
Nays? Abstentions? Motion carried.
Great, thank you. We are now re-entering public session. Brian, have there been any communications?
No, thank you.
Dr. Conklin, the superintendent's report?
Thank you so much. I just wanted to kind of quickly summarize the work that's gone on for the past 6 months in developing a mission statement and reorganizing the values and vision of the Caldwell-West Caldwell Public Schools. The new mission statement is going to be to foster, inspire, and champion learning for all. The values and vision are going to include academic excellence and growth mindset goals that focus on critical and creative thinking, collaboration, and communication. We are ensuring that we have high expectations for our students and provide authentic interdisciplinary learning with real-world connections. We want to make sure these activities are differentiated and student-centered. We want to make sure we have reflective practices and professional growth by our staff members, and we're able to respond to a diverse learning population. We are ensuring that resources are provided for all staff, and they receive professional development in classroom instruction, communication, and student learning. We also want to focus on wellness and balance. It's important to understand that the Caldwell-West Caldwell Public Schools value physical, emotional, and social well-being and foster an environment in which there is a balanced, holistic approach to success. We are committed to the health and safety and creating a learning environment that supports positive growth and development for all students. We also are going to focus on community equity and inclusion. It's important to expect students to have civic engagement. We want to foster an environment in which they participate in community service. And we're committed to equity and promoting ecological and economic sustainability. There are going to be 5 distinct goals that are designed over the next school year to support students' growth. We're going to be focusing on teaching and learning, and we're going to be looking to increase academic achievement for all students. Specifically, there'll be an elementary goal that addresses the literacy development and growth of students, and there'll be a secondary goal that addresses teachers' use of standard aligned assessments to help inform their instruction. We're going to be focusing also on student wellness, promoting social, emotional, and physical health, and to cultivate a safe and supportive environment. We're going to be addressing students' needs at middle school and elementary school, and creating support services designed to ensure their growth and development. We focus on equity and inclusion. So by the June of 2022, 100% of the staff will participate in ongoing professional development regarding inclusive and equitable learning environments. One thing that's critically important is family engagement. So we are focused by the year of 2022. We're going to make sure that all families, including non-English speaking families, will improve as evidenced by their increased responsive into district activities, response to district surveys, and increase their participation in parent-teacher conferences. Last but not least is our focus on technology. We are focused by the year June of 2022. All students and teachers will receive and be trained in the utilization of the instructional technology that we are using in our one-to-one initiative. That's going to hopefully be up and running by early November. So there will be this posted on the district website after the board meeting on the 20th. I ask everyone, please go take a look at it. If you have any questions or comments, please email me directly and I'll respond to those questions.
Yes. We'd also like to extend a thanks to those members of the community as well as the administration who worked over the last 6 weeks, 8 weeks or so, on helping to the board to help formulate those goals. So as Dr. Conklin mentioned, we will be reviewing those for the next week or so, and then they will be voted on and posted next week. One item on the president's report, Ms. Grosso, myself, and Dr. Conklin and some other administrators walked through each of the schools on the first day of class, and I'm very happy to report it was great to see everybody in the school. There's a lot of energy. Teachers seemed very happy to be there, definitely relieved to be probably not in front of a screen constantly, and all the kids just looked very, very happy. So it was very uplifting to see those. The school's very, very active. Moving on, approval of minutes. Can I have a motion to approve the regular public meeting, monthly meeting minutes of August 23rd, 2021, and the executive session minutes of August 23rd, 2021?
I'll make the motion.
Second? I'll second. Brian, can we have a vote, please?
Sure. Mr. Diambola.
Yes.
Mr. Elgo.
Yes.
Ms. Grasso.
Yes.
Ms. Lynn Frank. Yes. Mr. Cipollette.
Yes.
Okay, 5-0, motion carried.
Thank you. And moving on to committee reports, as we have discussed in the past, we will be reading out on committee meetings as they come through. They will either be read in the first or the second of each month, depending on what kind of what they fall into the calendar. So tonight, we will have a report on curriculum and technology. Ms. Grosso.
Thank you, Mr. Cipollette. So the week of August 31st, the Caldwell-West Caldwell Board of Education Curriculum and Technology Committee met at 3 p.m. on August 31st by Google Meet to communicate district plans, programs, and progress regarding curriculum and instruction. In attendance were Julianne Grosso, Elizabeth Fisher, Alina Jacobs, Caitlin Jones, Dr. Christopher Conklin, and Lucian Miku. The agenda included updates regarding our one-to-one initiative, Start Strong assessments, the Smart Summer Academy updates, draft district and principal goals. The meeting ended at approximately 4 p.m. This is going to be kind of a long recap, but again, the goal of these recaps are to provide complete transparency to the parents, so just bear with me. The technology updates from Lucian Miku, the one-to-one initiative and timeline update for distribution of student devices. At James Caldwell High School, 850 Dell laptop devices have been purchased. They were supposed to be delivered that week. Once received, the technology department will build an image, which will then be used to configure all of the devices. The estimated time for distribution was estimated to be about 3 weeks after receiving the devices. For Grover Cleveland Middle School, 500 Acer Chromebooks were purchased. As of today, which would have been August 31st, their delivery time was estimated to be at the end of September. Once received, the estimated time for starting distribution is 2 weeks from the delivery date. Upcoming district technology projects ongoing is the upgrading of the Citrix virtual environment, as well as the implementation of security solutions for the one-to-one student devices to begin after the building of the laptop images. Moving on to curriculum. The Start Strong assessments. The administration window for the Start Strong assessments will be between September 13th and October 22nd. Principals will share building-based testing schedules with their school communities and answer any questions from parents as school test coordinators. These assessments are brief assessments that satisfy federal assessment reporting requirements. They're designed to quickly provide data to teachers and school leaders about students' unique needs at the beginning of the school year. The tests are based on a subset of prioritized prior year academic standards and are available in ELA grades 4 through 10, mathematics grades 4 through 8, algebra 1, geometry, and algebra 2, and in science grades 6, 9, and 12. They can be administered in approximately 45 to 60 minutes and will provide immediate results to educators. The reports will include 3 performance levels. Strong support may be needed, some support may be needed, less support may be needed, to aid educators and families in making decisions about the types of supports that the students will need this upcoming school year. These results will be used in conjunction with local assessments at the beginning of the school year. Parents will receive paper copies of student individual student reports in the late. The Smart Summer Academy, we have more highlights since it was such a smashing success and we're so proud of it. At the elementary level, 94 students participated in the program in grades 3 through 6. 64 students attended 75% more of the sessions. 94% of the students who attended 75% or more of the sessions improved in the focus standards of math. The average reading growth for a 5-week summer program was 3 months, which is outstanding. The number of students who were reading on grade level increased from 1 to 27%. At the secondary level, we had approximately 20 students participate in the program grades 6 through 8. 14 students attended 65% more of the sessions. 88% of those students who attended improved in the major content area of math, and 80% of the students who attended improved in the focus standards of ELA. Draft mission, vision, values, and goals for 2021 through 2026. We talked a lot about the related principal goals and the TLTs, which are teacher learning team plans. Each principal created aligned building-based goals and are supporting co-facilitation of teacher learning teams, professional learning communities that support teachers in working collaboratively towards district and school goals. At the elementary level, all elementary principals are working together towards meeting the district goal for elementary literacy. The following goals are consistent across all of the elementary schools, and I'm going to read them to everyone right now. By June of 2022, which would be this coming June, 70% of students who are below grade level in reading will make 1.5 years of growth as measured by the Teachers College running records. 100% of teachers will communicate student progress to families through report cards 3 times a year and interim progress reports 2 times a year. 100% of staff will participate in at least 3 professional development sessions and research-based strategies to differentiate reading instructions. Examples would be guided reading, phonics first, mind play, and foundations. 100% of teachers will use assessment data to implement with fidelity research-based strategies to differentiate reading instruction. Again, guided reading, phonics first, mind play, foundations, as measured by classroom observations and lesson plans. At the middle school, Grover Cleveland Middle School, goal number 1. By June 2022, this June, 70% of grades 1 through 6 students who scored below grade level in reading will grow at least 1.5 reading levels as measured by TC running records. By June 2022, 65% of grades 1 through 6 students will be on grade level in reading as measured by TC running records. The second goal at the middle school level. By June 2022, 100% of teachers will use standards-aligned assessments to inform instruction as measured by formal and informal observations. Okay, we're talking about here are walkthroughs of classrooms, TLTs, lesson and unit plans, Danielson classroom observations, etc. The goals at James Caldwell High School. By June 2022, 100% of teachers will be using standards-aligned assessments to inform instructions as measured by formal and informal observations. Same thing at the middle school, walkthroughs, TLTs, lesson and unit plans, the Danielson observations. And by June 2022, 100% of staff will have engaged in professional development and applied learning around differentiation through meaningful integration of technology. The big mouthful. If you didn't get it all, feel free to follow up with Ms. Jones on any questions, but all of this too will be communicated to you through the building principals. So never fear, it won't be the last time you hear it. And that will do it for curriculum and technology.
Thank you.
Second one.
You got it, you got it. Chris, for curriculum, I'm sorry, for
Finance facilities, yep, finance facilities met actually that same day on August 31st. And we're going to provide a more full summary of the items discussed on that date at our next meeting next Thursday, or next Monday.
Thank you. Now we're going to open up to public comments on agenda items, and these will be agenda items at this point only. Participants must be recognized by the presiding officer and must preface their comments by the announcement of their name and address. And if you do have comments, please come up to the podium. Statements are to be limited to 3-minute duration and may only address items which are on the agenda. Participants may speak no more than once on the same topic until all others who wish to speak on that topic have been heard, and all statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. Any questions? Yep. Just, you have to just come up here and use the mic, just so everybody can hear you, because we are streaming live.
I just had two questions. I see on the agenda, there's a variety of special education aides that have resigned. I was wondering if they're going to be replaced eventually, or if the needs of the students this year are different.
It really depends on what personnel are needed, what's in students' IEPs, what's required by the New Jersey Administrative Code 6814. So they may or may not be replaced. Individual decisions.
And the other question I had with the mission statement that you had read at the beginning of the meeting is that still hasn't been finalized, the final version of the mission statement?
No, the final version of the mission statement will be voted on by the Board of Education on September 20th.
Okay, so what you read today were just highlights that are at this stage?
Yes, it's probably about a 4 or 5 page document. So once it's accepted and the board votes on it, it'll be posted on the website. But the actual mission statement is to foster, inspire, and champion learning for all.
Okay,
So that's the mission statement. The other stuff is really values and vision. That's much more involved. It deals with goals and objectives and specific criteria each and every year. It's a 5-year strategic plan, so there's different goals for each individual year. It'll all be posted on the website once the board approves it at the next meeting.
okay, thank you. That's it.
Yeah, what Dr. Conklin went through is highlights or summaries of what's probably in there, but we're just going through.
Yes, I just wanted to confirm that. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Anybody else, any questions on the agenda items?
Me again. Sue Mariucci, 32 Ravine, Caldwell. I know at the last meeting I had asked about, I know, Dr. Conklin was putting the agenda in different terms, but not really quite came out and said whether critical race theory / racial integration, integrity is part of that curriculum. I mean, say things are being done fair, but I mean, to teach a little child that you're born with disadvantages and someone else should feel guilty about the fact that maybe they're white, I want to know if that's part of the curriculum. My tax dollars pay for this.
Is your question, is critical race theory part of the New Jersey?
Part of this school system's curriculum?
No.
No. Okay. Because I also have a husband who's been in law enforcement for 44 years. So I know what it's about. I really don't want our young people being taught that. And I really didn't get an answer at the last meeting, so it is not part of the curriculum?
Critical race theory is not part of the New Jersey state standard, so it's not part of our curriculum, no.
Okay, great. I just wanted to know that. Also, I noticed, I don't know if it's one part of this, but I know the parents have brought up about writing a letter to the governor on behalf of no masks. Had anybody decided on that or no?
First off, that's not an agenda item, but I will answer your question. We did have a press release last week. We are not petitioning the governor related to masks. All children in our district will be wearing masks.
Okay. And I wanted to say, this is my opportunity to say to you, as a person who's worked for 47 years, is very disheartened at the way you ended that meeting. You really put gasoline on flame, and parents who came here and poured their heart out, and a lot of them left very disheartened, which I'm sure is why they're not here tonight.
Thank you for your feedback.
Yeah, I think you need to know that, and I was disheartened, and I don't have children in the school anymore. They went through the school system and they did great. And I just think you come here as a parent concerned and left here angry. And it really was sad to see.
Appreciate your feedback.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions?
The agenda?
Yes, that's the agenda right
Yeah,
now.
the agenda.
We'll get to the others in a few minutes. Yep.
Herbert Keats, 48 Laurel Place, West Caldwell. On page 7 of the agenda, music demonstrations, it says approval of the following musicians to provide musical demonstrations on September 15th through 17th. This is new to me. I just don't know what it is.
So, if I answer.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is bringing outside experts in those specific instruments. Our music teachers don't have the expertise, and we want to be able to present those instruments in a way for students to be interested or engaged in those instruments. So they can teach the instruments, but they can't actually play them proficiently enough to do a demonstration.
they're doing a demonstration at the high school only? Or?
No, they're doing a demonstration of the, for the day, so they go to different places
Uh-huh.
and then demonstrate, I think it's the violin, trumpet, and trombone, am I remembering correctly?
Trumpet, cello.
Cello, that's it.
Yeah, trumpet, cello, trombone.
Yes,
So they do demonstrations.
so they do 4 demonstrations
Right.
across different schools.
And that's to just show the kids the instruments.
Right, so
Okay.
students, so again, our music teachers aren't necessarily proficient in those pieces of equipment, for lack of a better phrase, I'm losing my brain. So we bring those people in from the outside to be able to do demonstrations for those.
And this is something new, right? It's never been done before?
No, this has been done before.
It has. I don't remember it. Okay. You don't know when it was done before?
I can't speak to that.
Okay.
When I asked, why are we doing this, they said we've done this several times.
Okay, all right. I just don't remember. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on the agenda? Okay. So there's 2 items that we need to vote on tonight, and they are going to be on page 4, F, which is to amend the substitute teacher rates. We currently pay $100 a day. We are going to be increasing that to $120 to help acquire more substitutes. And then on page 7, it's item F, which is to amend the bus aid rates, increasing those rates from $14.35 per hour to $17.50 per hour, effective for the 2021-2022 school year. Can I have a motion to accept those 2 increases?
So moved.
I have a second.
I'll second.
Any questions or discussion? Okay. Brian, can you take the vote, please?
Yes. Mr. Bola.
Yes.
Mr. Algo.
Yes.
Ms. Grasso.
Yes.
Ms. Frank. Yes. Mr. Simoletti.
Yes.
A motion carried 5-0.
Thank you very much. And all the other items on the agenda will be discussed and voted on next week's session. And now we're going to move to open agenda for anything outside of items on the agenda. This will be public participation, which shall be governed by the following. Participants must be recognized by the presiding officer and must preface their comments by their announcement of their name and address. And again, please, you can come up to the microphone. Statements are to be limited to 3 minutes duration. Participants may speak no more than once on the same topic until all others who wish to speak on that topic have been heard, and all statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. Any questions outside of the?
I'm sorry, I meant to say, when we're talking on the, our topic, can we also talk about the agenda one more time on something too?
Just because it's you, Herb?
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Anybody have any questions? Good. You just need to come up here just because. you're-
Sorry, after they're screaming.
Quick
Yeah.
Just reiterate the agenda items that were approved tonight. I know that they were not all approved.
Yes, you know what, I can give you a list, I'll give it to you after the meeting, on those?
Yes, that would be fine,
Okay.
as long as I.
Sure. Anyone else? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go.
Okay. Herbert Beeks, 48 Laurel Place, West Caldwell, New Jersey, also the president of the Music and More Booster Club. So my first thing is, so there's a rumor going around that the budget for the music and theater programs is going to be cut this year. And I just wanted to know if there's any truth to that.
I'm not aware of any of that, and looking at the person who manages that, he's also kind of, so that's probably want to answer that question.
That's why I'm asking.
You know, it's not my decision, it's ultimately the boards and superintendents, but there's nothing that has discussed that I'm aware of.
Okay. And the second thing was, right now, the kids, especially my kids, are involved in music and theater And we're starting to feel the inequality a little bit already about what's going on in the school. Obviously, the school is busy because you mentioned that you walked around the school and saw that the classrooms are busy. The kids in the music program are already been told there are going to be no performances until after December. So they're going to just practice, but there's going to be no performances. So I just think that's really not very inclusive. How could anybody get excited about, oh, I'm going to practice music, but I'm never going to get to perform it to anybody? I just think that's really unfair. And I'm sure you're familiar with the NJPAC. They already put out their schedule for shows, music. That's in Newark. That's indoors. They're having performances in November, in December, in January, and February, March. There's a whole bunch of shows that they're having. At least there's something scheduled. Maybe it won't happen because of COVID and safety reasons, but at least something scheduled. Our music calendar, there's nothing scheduled at all on our music calendar. Everything else is scheduled. Football, everything else, tennis, whatever you want to go to the website and find, it's all scheduled. Our program, there's nothing. We're a big blank. Kids are seeing that and they're really upset, and so are some parents right now. They're saying, why am I putting my kid in music? Also, I mean, I don't know if you have any numbers. Participation, is it falling in the music and theater programs? If you know that, Dr. Conklin, if the numbers have fallen?
The numbers have fallen in.
As far as
in the music
participation?
and participation, I couldn't tell you because it would be skewed from last year.
Mhm.
So there's no way to give you a valid number of how many kids participated and didn't participate because of the year and a half that we actually haven't been in school. So
Because
I wouldn't want to say that it's lower than it was.
I heard from already a couple parents that orchestra, a lot of kids already stopped orchestra, like doing stuff in orchestra because they feel there's no performances. So I'm not going to keep going with this. I'll take something else that's going to keep going. Why waste my time doing this or just practicing? It's a dangerous road we are coming to. I mean, the first meeting I was at, I mentioned, please don't do this to music and theater. Focus on it. Try to make this work. Try to find a way to have performances. Try to keep these kids excited. We also were told no trips. There's going to be no trips. It's automatic already. No trips in the music. Is it true? I don't know. Because there's no transparency. We're lacking transparency once again in the music and theater programs. I also was told in the Grover Cleveland Middle School by a parent, the lunchroom will now be the theater when it gets winter time. That they're going to use the Grover Cleveland Middle School auditorium to serve lunches in. Because that would inconvenience the gymnasium or any other area of the school. That's the best place to have it because, what's in there? Theater. What's in there? Music. No big deal. That's not fair. It's very upsetting. I went to the Friday football game. Inclusive group? Absolutely not. Pep band? 6 feet apart. Everybody in the pep band. I got a photo of it. It's on my phone. I could show it to you. Everybody in the stands, shoulder to shoulder, all in white. You look great. I mean, the kids were all excited, about the football game, all screaming, literally on top of each other, hugging each other, everything. So we're willing to do things in football games that we're not even giving the kids in music a chance. If I'm a musician, I'm outside playing, and I'm 6 feet apart, I cannot hear that person, what they're doing. It's almost impossible. Our sound is so distorted outside, you're not going to hear it. The kids are going to lose their passion. That's a really big concern. I don't want it to happen. I know we're trying to do something in the grammar schools. I know we're trying to do, a show called Matilda, where we're going to bring the kids in from the grammar school. There's no way these kids are going to get excited if they're not going to be able to have this show. And they're going to work really hard to have it canceled. It wouldn't be fair. And I just want you to give it a lot of attention. I want it to be known what I heard. And I don't know if there's any truth to the Grover Cleveland Middle School theater becoming the lunchroom in the winter. I have no idea if that's true. Does anybody know that that's true?
Liz, take your comments and we'll.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying,
And we need to look into it.
Yeah, there's a lot of concern and I mean, you alleviated my budget concern, thank you, Brian. The bottom line is, we just feel like the music and theater program is not getting a fair shake right now. The kids are feeling it, participation's dropping. I haven't even had my first meeting yet at the Music and More Booster Club, but it's not gonna go good. I know, there's gonna be people upset, just like everyone was upset about, wearing a mask. I'm okay with wearing a mask for the record. I'm okay with you protecting the students. I'm not okay with a gymnasium full of kids with no masks, a lunchroom full of kids with no masks, a football field stadium packed wall to wall with kids, shoulder to shoulder, yelling and screaming, cheerleaders pyramiding on top of each other, everybody enjoying their school life, except for those music and theater kids. So I hope we'll change that. I hope today is the day that something happens positive. Thank you.
We appreciate your passion.
Yes, thank you.
Dan, can I say something? Herb, I just want to, just for the record, say that, my girls in particular attended the theater meeting that Mr. Paradis had on Friday, and they were very excited that they're going to be auditioning tomorrow for Puffs, which is the fall production, and Matilda is the spring musical. So I know Tech Week is November 15th, and Mr. Paradis is moving full steam ahead. So thank you, Mr. Paradis, if you're listening.
Amen to that.
Yeah, Mr. Paradis is amazing. And as far as the music, I think that's definitely worth investigation because it's news to me, because when my girls were so happy to be a part of the theater life in that high school, I had no idea about the performance of the music. So that's definitely something that the board will look into. So thank you for being passionate and sharing your ideas with us. We very much appreciate it. But I do want to put it out there to anyone listening that there are going to be fall productions. So let's get excited and support our students. And the first one will be happening in November. So.
Anyone else? Any questions?
Joanna Sippy, 11 Caldwell Place, West Caldwell. Just like on a kind of piggyback off his last comment, is there going to be any, at any point during the year, kind of clubs happening after school? My daughter's in middle school and she was really want to get involved in activities, and kids are kind of done at the end of the day and leave and they still obviously see each other outside of school. But I was just curious as far as clubs, when that sort of thing may be happening during the school year, if at all.
So you should just contact the guidance or you contact the principal at the middle school. They'll tell you what the timelines are. There should be right on the website when the clubs are opening. If they haven't posted it yet, it's because they haven't put all the clubs together. But I would contact the principal, contact your child's teacher. They'll be able to tell you when those timelines are coming out.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Well, sure.
Hello, I'm Mary Ellen Meehan for Hawthorne Road in Caldwell. First of all, I want to say thank you to the board and also her. Keep up the good fight. I'm into the music and arts too, so I think it's very important, especially in the highlights of the mission statement that you read, that there is a very strong non-athletic option if you want to foster this inclusivity in the town. I think that's a pretty dynamic part of how we can go ahead and do that. I would be interested to hear, I guess, more will come out, the word civic engagement. That sort of got my attention, and I would love to hear the plans that are in place for that. And it seems like we're really starting from zero there. So any improvement would be a great one in that respect. I also had some questions about the ESSER and the ESSER 2 funds. You guys have done a decent job showing us a little bit of where that money went in 2 or 3 meetings ago. Didn't really see anything about the second part of it. My question is more of, let's make sure we use every dollar of it, and we would like to see where that went. I understand, I would assume that the urgency would be towards what Ms. Grosso was explaining about the curriculum and the testing and bringing some of the students that were falling behind up to speed. Seems like you've done that. My one concern might have been the group that you labeled needs no assistance, or I forgot the phrase.
Right, it needs a little support, Right.
needs little support. Perhaps that group does need some support and more enrichment opportunities, and let's not forget about that group as well. So I'd love to see if some of those ESSER funds would be going towards that part of the student body.
I could summarize quickly what a lot of the ESSER funds are kind of be going for. We're focusing in on technology, which ate up a big chunk of what we're doing. We are leasing the 850 new Dell laptops, so every single student at the high school has a laptop, not a Chromebook. And then we're replacing 500 of the outdated Chromebooks with new Chromebooks. So by the end of, again, hopefully November, based on their availability, every student in the district will have a one-to-one device provided by the district. So the other piece is intervention. A lot of the curriculum, a lot of the intervention strategies, specifically phonics first, professional development activities, are provided through the ESSER funds. So those are targeted evidence-based interventions that are multi-sensory instruction designed to support students in their literacy instruction. And we're also providing additional PD across K to 12, actually preschool to 12th grade, in supporting integration and intervention activities that are evidence-based.
Is that, I'm sorry, PD professional development?
Professional development, I'm sorry. And the last thing is sponsoring what we're calling, especially in our elementary schools, the IDEA block, Individualized Differentiated Educational Activities block. So that is actually an intervention and enrichment block. So we're focusing a lot of our professional development on that block in the elementary school. So that way students who are struggling, whether they're just approaching grade level achievement or far away from grade level achievement, will get the attention they need. And also it's an enrichment block. So for students who need to be challenged, that block is also built in for them. So a lot of that differentiated educational activities are going on in that block. So a lot of our professional development too is focused in on giving the teachers the tools they need to challenge the students and then also support the students that need those additional instructional strategies.
If I can ask you a little bit, I'm sure a huge piece of that went towards tech, which is understandable. To attain the one-to-one, 850 Dell laptop seems like a pretty aggressive number. Was that because of students that need it, or you just?
That's how many students there are at the high
that
school.
need it?
So we actually did a 4-year lease purchase. So that way it's not as expensive or onerous as you think it is.
And that's just to keep level the playing field that everyone is using the same device?
So
Okay.
that way students that are actually going to be aspiring to go to college actually have a laptop because that's what they'll be using in college. So we wanted to give them that experience before they get there to understand that. And the devices that are laptops are much more robust in terms of their operating system than many of the Chromebooks.
No, so I think laptops are the way to go. I just meant it's an interesting choice that everyone is using the same laptop, so advantages are, okay, that's great. Yeah, we'd just like to just make sure, is there transparency in the ESSER funds? Is that, do we get reports on that? I mean, there was something that, I think it was the beginning of the summer, that some of us had come out. I just, the amount.
For next week, can we just have a list of what the ESSER fund, what the total was, and what the breakout was? Sure. We should have.
You get that?
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, and it's strong support may be needed, some support may be needed, less support may be needed.
Right.
So I just wanted to clarify because Caitlin's probably twitching back there. Why did she say little, it's less? She'll be our notes. I'm just joking with her, but just for clarification.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. If not, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn the public conference meeting and meet in private executive session for the purpose of discussing personnel negotiations, legal miscellaneous, and open business matters. This meeting has been advertised and is compliant with the Open Public Meeting Act and NJSA 10:4-6, which is also known as the Sunshine Law. The matters discussed will be made public when confidentiality is no longer required, and formal action pursuant to said discussion shall take place only at a meeting to which the public has been invited. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
We have a second.
Right.
I'm gonna call at a time. So the motion was made by Ms. Rosso and seconded by a combination of the Chris's upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Caldwell-West Caldwell Board of Education shall return to executive session. Now we need to make a motion to enter executive session. The purpose of that meeting is to discuss personnel negotiations, legal miscellaneous, and old business matters. That meeting had been advertised and is compliant with the Open Public Meeting Act and NJSA 10:4-6, which is also known as the Sunshine Law. The matters discussed will be in public, with confidentiality is no longer required, and formal action pursuant to said discussion shall take place only at a meeting to which the public has been invited. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do we have a second?
I will second it.
Excellent. All right, motion was made by Ms. Grosso and seconded by Mr. Dambola. Upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools of the Caldwell-West Caldwell Board of Education, we are now going to enter public session at approximately 8:43 p.m.
7:43.
7:43, thank you, I gotta get glasses.
I have it. If you want.
I just wanted to be,
Right here.
said was approved.
You clicked it? This one's. Surface grade, approved 9/13, approved 9/13.
Great,
Got
thank
it?
you.
Cut that in half.
Thank you.
Well, it's evidence that everyone listening likes it. I didn't have to. I'm also in favor of.
Yeah.